everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. And we're going to be inspired today by my guest, Pam Krueger. Pam is a financial and investing expert. She's an author and TV personality. She's a co-host of a PBS series called Money Track and has developed a very interesting online tool called Wealth Ramp, which connects consumers with fiduciary financial advisors. So it's great to have you here, Pam.
Thanks, Margaret. Thank you.
Pam, you know, we have a large community of women over 60 who are retiring. And besides their health, the most important thing they're thinking about is money and their financial security. You know, some have got no partner, no job, no money. Many have a house still. But, you know, their circumstances are really in transition. So they're looking to how to, you know, they see all these options and for how to get through, you know, with enough money to live for the rest of their lives, and lots of conflicting options. So Can we just talk a little bit about kind of that landscape that we find ourselves in?
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, you know, when we arrive at that place where we feel like we're going to either stop working altogether or perhaps transition in some way and make the next, you know, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years look very different in the terms of earning money and working. You're looking at what you have, and that's the time to really focus on what you have. If you have your health, if you have good health, and you don't have adequate savings, so what? You know that you have the power to continue to earn money. And now, instead of working for someone, let's just say that you've been working for a company where you really didn't like your boss. Now you're done with that.
Yeah.
You paid your dues. Now maybe you go into something that you don't get paid as much money, but you really like what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And you live on less. Yes, it's true. You're living on less. But you know what? I would argue that you can be happier than ever living on less and having the power to get up every morning and choose where you put your time and how you get paid and enjoying that experience at the same time while you're supplementing your income and while whatever savings you do have is not getting touched. So remember, for every year you put off stopping work and you continue to work, you are not touching the money that you've already saved. Plus, you know, you're just making it more possible to add to that in the future, obviously, forward. So with the house, if you're house rich, cash poor, then you have some options. But what I want to say to you, no matter how little or how much money you have, divorced, or whether you're married, no matter what, before you retire and before you stop you quit your day job, if you will, that's the time to really sit down and look at the options that you do have about whether or not you're going to continue to work, albeit at a lesser amount. Do I really want to keep this house? I love this house. It means the world to me. But is it killing me by owning it? And looking at, and then only then can you really consider the kinds of financial options, the kinds of things that are out there for you, that are tools on the shelf that you can reach for. Some of these tools, like reverse mortgages, annuities. Let's talk about reverse mortgages because we were focused on the house.
Exactly,
Just like annuities, reverse mortgages are sold, usually. They're not bought. They're sold. They're offered as loans. So they come with costs, and they're packaged together. But basically the idea is that when you take out a reverse mortgage, you're now taking out a loan where you own the house, most of it anyway. You have to own a big, big chunk of the equity. And now you're getting the institution to pay you monthly, and you get to stay in your house.
It's an income,
So the key here is you are basically locking yourself into the staying in the house part of it. So it's only going to work for people who really say, I know I'm not going to go to assisted living. I know I'm going to be in this house forever. And I know that my children and my heirs are not going to mind that I'm really sucking the equity and tapping the equity out of this house in order to help me live. So it is a little bit of a lifeline for very specific, it's a tool for people who have a very specific situation. But there are a lot of other ways that people can accomplish what they're trying to do with a reverse mortgage without having to completely limit themselves to the options that the reverse mortgage restriction put upon you. Now, the good news.
I think that's, by the way, I think that's really important, Pam, though, to this talk about this taking back control, that, if you do make a decision on a reverse mortgage or any of these other products, that you're talking about, recognize that they are products that someone is selling and maybe making a commission from you on. But if that's your life decision, if that's putting you in control of that income or that money, then it's okay to do it. But it's important to realize that, these are not, there's always two sides to it. There's always a positive and a negative side.
You have the power. Now you have complete control over every decision you're going to make with, let's just say that it's a little bit of savings for the example we're using with the reverse mortgage, because this is the typical scenario where you have that house and you're emotionally attached to that house. And so a lot of times you're willing to give up your power to hear what you want to hear and not necessarily come from strength. So when you're at retirement and you don't have enough savings to carry you for the rest of your life, but you have your health and so forth, what you want to do is you want to make all of your financial decisions from strength and not from weakness. And when we are behind the 8 ball financially and we feel like we don't have enough savings, we feel weakened, right? So therefore, we tend to sort of settle, or we tend to say, well, that's all that's left for me. I don't have options.
Well, we're very consumer focused. I mean, that's how we've lived all our life. You buy stuff to solve a problem. You buy the package, and you trust people to give you good advice. But I think, we certainly by the time you're 60, you've learned that people are not always working in your best interest. I mean, they're working in theirs. So we've talked about reverse mortgages. So what about annuities? That's another thing that somebody might think is a good option.
Okay, so again, an annuity, just like a reverse mortgage, these are tools. They're not investments. So investments are where you are putting your money to work for you in a way that the money is going to grow and it's invested. These are specific engineered tools. They're very packaged. So in other words, they're manipulated. So they take a loan and they manipulate it into a scenario where, with the reverse mortgage, where it fits a very small percentage of the population, and it's fraught with limitations, and it's fraught with restrictions, and it's just, it's got fees and fees and fees all day long. Same with annuities. Annuity is just another way of saying it's a contract with an insurance company. It's not, I can't say it enough, it's not an investment. You are making a handshake deal with an insurance company. Hey, Margaret, I'm going to give you a big lump sum of my savings. Hey, Margaret, you in return, in 20 years down the road, are going to give me back my own money in a stream of payments so that I know that I'm going to have money coming in the rest of my life. And supposedly, Margaret's supposed to be investing my money and making it grow, but Margaret takes a huge cut along the way. No, not only commissions, every single year, 2 to 3% fees. So you're talking about knocking off a huge chunk. So by the time you're giving me that money back, it made me feel like I did the right thing because I'm getting a guaranteed stream of income. But all those years, you couldn't touch your money. You can't take it out. You're getting penalized. You're getting dinged. So most people go into these products, these engineered, manipulated, packaged types of tools, these types of products. They're sold as investments. They're not investments. They are really on the shelf as a tool to use very specifically under only certain circumstances, only under certain conditions do you use a reverse mortgage or an annuity. Because you know why? You could do it on your own. You can create the same benefit and do it on your own. But in order to do that, you have to let go of guilt and shame, and you have to let go of that feeling that, oh, bad, naughty, naughty. I didn't save enough money. Who cares? Stuff happens along the way. It's not like you didn't save enough money. It's like you probably had kids.
Happened.
You had to do what you had to do, right? So now you're here, and you're healthy, and you're of sound mind and body, and you can choose to either continue to work as long as you can at something you love and supplement your income and look at all your options. You can consider selling the house, kind of separating the emotions from it. You can sit down with a a real financial advisor, not a salesman, not someone who's going to sell you something, but someone who's actually going to sit down and is a fiduciary advisor and consult and say, let's look at all the different ways that I can create my future here, given what I have. And don't focus on what you don't have.
And take control. It can take control. And I'll actually, at this point, I think it might be useful to mention to people that, I mean, we've talked about this in other videos, but there's a big difference between a financial advisor and a fiduciary advisor. And Pam's website, Wealth Ramp, is exactly the place to go if you want to find a match, like it matches a consumer and your needs, which are obviously different than the person next to you, with someone who's a fiduciary advisor. And it's their value system to put your interests first and not to sell stuff to you to benefit them. So I just want to make sure we mention that. Yeah.
Thank you. And what's so important about that is that what happens if you sit down with someone who's from a brokerage firm or an insurance company? What do you think they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you that they have the magic solution tool, the reverse mortgage, or they have the annuity that can solve all of your problems. And they're selling that product. The reason you want to go to an impartial, agnostic financial advisor who's a fiduciary legally has to put your best interest first is because they're going to tell you, Margaret, you know what? The reverse mortgage could work for you, but here's the conditions under which it would work. Right. You know what?
And be honest.
It work for you, and here's why. Yeah. Let me show you the math of it. Let me show you the simple arithmetic of it, of why it doesn't work, and all the fees involved. And then you can say, okay, good. I'm having a smart conversation that's actually a consultation. Yeah. I'm paying for this advice out of my pocket. I know I'm paying you. I know how much I'm paying you. I'm getting valuable advice.
Exactly.
And I think that at the gateway of retirement, when your toe is over the starting line of retirement, that's when you want to sit down and have that consultation, because then you won't get sucked into this idea that, again, the harp riff of the dream, that annuity is going to solve all my problems. But I'm telling you, a lot of times these decisions to go into these kinds of products, these engineered products, comes out of weakness. It doesn't come from strength. Yeah. We only feel like we're strong when we have a lot of money in the bank. It's not true. You're strong right now. You're strong right now. You can choose, and you have the right, and you have the ability to sit down with somebody who's smart, who's on your side, who will help you figure out, don't do this. It's not good. Do this or don't do this. Are impartial. Yeah. And that's what you want.
You have given us probably the best advice I think that I've ever heard on a discussion about finances, because you've made it real and you made it human. And I think it's so important to not let money get to you, to not let it get you down, to know that you don't have to buy these things that sound easy, because life isn't easy. We know this, but it's in your control. And you don't have to get overwhelmed by bonds and annuities and mortgages. It's just, what's right for you. And I think you've done an awesome job, Pam. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And we'll talk again about some other issues, but this has been a very, very good conversation. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our 60 and Me YouTube channel and also visit our website. We are a strong and dynamic community of women over 60. We're challenging aging stereotypes, and every day we share fascinating stories, interesting questions, and great conversation.